season will see Derby County travel to Cheltenham Town for the first time in their history. The Gloucestershire club only reached the EFL for the first time in 1999 and have been through 7 promotions or relegations in the 23 years since, including a one-year return to non-league level that once again saw them crowned National League champions. Their major local rivals are Gloucester City, currently 3 levels below the Robins, and new League One rivals Forest Green Rovers. The 2 clubs went head-to-head for the National League title back in 2016 and are just 25 miles apart. The journey from Pride Park to Warne Road is a little longer. You'll need at least 2 hours to make the 100-mile trip by car. It's been Cheltenham's home since 1932, and with a capacity of just over 7,000, it is one of the smaller venues in the division. The town of Cheltenham is best known in a sporting sense, not for football, but for racing. The Cheltenham Festival is held every March, with the prestigious Gold Cup the highlight of the steeplechase season. Hello and welcome to the preview show from RamsTV. After getting the job done in the FA Cup third round last weekend, today it's back to the business of the league campaign for Derby County. And as you've been hearing, the Rams are off to Gloucestershire for the very first time to take on Cheltenham Town. Here's a reminder of the League One table after the Rams' week off from league action. There were a couple of games last weekend. Only Bolton's goalless draw with Plymouth affecting things at the top. The leaders are now 5 points clear, but they have played a game more than the chasers. Derby are 11 points off the top 2. There is a scenario that sees the Rams drop out of the top 6 today, albeit an unlikely one. Keep an eye on Barnsley though. They've got games in hand on everyone. Well, Cheltenham finished well clear of the relegation zone last season and they're 6 points above the bottom 4 at about the halfway mark of this one. The Forest Green have slipped to the foot of the standings recently, while Morecambe have managed to get out of danger, at least for now. Yeah, they're on a really good run at the moment, but there is arguably no one in better form than Derby County right now. 16 games unbeaten in all competition. That run stands at 11 games without defeat in the league alone. And we've been talking to goalkeeper Joe Wildsmith, who's kept 5 consecutive clean sheets and also recently passed a personal milestone. He's now made more appearances this season than in any previous individual campaign.
It's a milestone that I was aware of. I didn't realise, I haven't been focused on it, but it is a milestone that I did know about. Obviously that's a great achievement for me personally to get that many games under my belt at a short sort of period in the season as well. So yeah, just great to again just come in and play the games I have done, help the team as much as I can, and yeah, obviously the form at the minute has been decent, so hopefully long that may continue.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that this is the first season in which you've been an undisputed number 1 goalkeeper anyway. Was that, I guess, the expectation when you came in the summer?
I don't think it was the expectation. I think the club signed me with the understanding that someone else was going to come in and it was going to be a battle, but for me then to sort of take that and put the work in and make that my own was down to me as an individual, and that was the task given. So for me to do that in the period that a 4 or 5 month period is pleasing for me, obviously, to be playing those games and be involved and be that number 1. And like I said, the hard work continues to keep that. And obviously now we've got Joe back involved and Scott pushing and H in the background sort of doing his work as well and developing nicely with his loan moves. It's a good group to be involved in and everyone's pushing each other.
Is there anything different about being the first choice goalkeeper?
Responsibility. Obviously you're playing, you're going out and doing the job on a Saturday, but there's a lot more to it than that, and it's that build up through the week of preparing, and the aim is basically everything you do in the week is gearing up to that game on a Saturday, and that's something that I've got a lot more sort of involvement in now and understanding on what I need to do for my body, playing the amount of games I have done and getting myself right to peak at that point where the game is, whether that be a Saturday or a Tuesday. And it's been a learning for me, and especially over the festive period, games coming thick and fast. It's been good, and obviously the results of that coming off positive always helps. And like I say, it's good to learn, and it's only going to stand me in good stead going forward.
There have been things you've had to change then with this role?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a role where previously I was doing a lot of the shooting drills after training, and it's about sort of picking and choosing and tapering off where I need to taper off and maybe go, right, I've done enough there, and right, I need to do more on these days because they're the only days that I'm going to really get a chance at maybe loading up and doing some gym work instead, and then sort of taking it easier on Fridays and day before games. So that's just been sort of like trying to work out my routine through the week and leading up to games. So yeah, it's been good to get that help from the side as well through the sports science guys, and yeah, just sort of trying to really understand my body and take that forward and produce my best performances on game days.
Of course, you're now playing for a different manager than the one that was here when you signed. Talk to us about Paul Warne. How does he treat his goalkeepers?
He just piles confidence into us. That is the best praise I could give to him. Since he walked through the door, all he's given me is confidence. He wants me to come for crosses. He wants me to make decisions that are going to benefit the team. And if I get them wrong, there's no problem as long as I come for the next one. He don't want me to shy away. He wants me to be a bold goalkeeper who doesn't shy away from things. And basically, I've just tried to take that and put it into my game, and I felt good. I felt confident. I felt as though it's working for me with that attitude towards it. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it since he's come in. I enjoyed the previous regime for different reasons, and Liam was great for me, obviously bringing me here and showing me a different style of football that I could sort of work into. But again, since the new gaffer's come in, I've really enjoyed myself as well.
Joe Wildsmith there. You'll hear more from Derby's goalkeeper in Matchday Live from 2:30 on RamsTV this afternoon. Well, there have been plenty of firsts for Derby County this season, and there will be another today as they travel to Cheltenham Town for the first time in their history. And there will be a sense of occasion at Warne Road this afternoon, according to Gloucestershire Live reporter John Palmer.
I think Cheltenham played 84 of the 92 in competitive games so far, so this will be number 85. But most Cheltenham fans will be able to remember Derby being at the top. I remember Cheltenham selling a player to Derby in the late 80s, and it felt like he was going from the conference to the top division, like a dream move. So for Cheltenham Derby to be meeting in the same division it shows that Cheltenham are probably punching above the weight, and it probably shows that Derby should be a little bit higher, as I'm sure everyone would agree. They don't belong in League One. But it's happened a few times. Sheffield Wednesday, Cheltenham had the same sort of feel to it. Ipswich. But Cheltenham are just happy to be at the party. They've done really well to get to League One. And having these days against the likes of Derby, come into Cheltenham, packing out the ground, is what it's all about. It's why they work so hard to get into this level of football.
And they've stayed up pretty comfortably last season, and they're in decent shape this time around as well. But that's with a new manager. How has Wade Elliott taking over and earning that promotion sort of changed things?
Yeah, he's had quite a tough act to follow, because Michael Duff, as you said, stayed up comfortably last season, 15th highest finish in the club's history. Brilliant achievement. But what's really important is Wade Elliott was a big part of that as Michael Duff's first team coach. So he came in before the title-winning season in League Two. So that was his first season. And then he helped the club achieve their best ever finish. And now he stepped up to become head coach. And he really has carried a lot of the good work Michael Duff was doing. Quite a big change in personnel on the pitch, a few staff changes. So I think only 1 point worse off than they were this time last season, with all the changes that Wade's had to sort of oversee. He took a bit of delight in telling us at the press conference that he did score against Derby once, a header for Burnley, which he enjoyed. But he's looking forward to it as much as everyone else. Acknowledge what a massive club Derby are and the brilliant form they've been in, and it's a big day for him as well.
January transfer window is open, so we have to talk about transfers. I know they've done a little bit of business already, and Will Goodwin scored in his debut has already scored against Derby this season. What is he going to add to the Cheltenham side, do you think?
Yeah, I think the first thing that everybody noticed when Cheltenham signed him was that he had scored that last 95th minute equaliser against Derby. But great for him to get off the mark already in the EFL Trophy quarterfinals. Cheltenham had never got to the semis before, so that's a bit of history that he's helped them make. So it's not a bad way to start his time at Cheltenham. But we hear that he's done very well at Torquay in a sort of struggling National League team, but he got 8 goals in all competitions. Big lad, 6'2", strong. I think he, as Wade Elliott said, he'll bring something to the front line that they haven't really had during the first half of the season. And they've signed him on a 2.5-year deal. They've paid an undisclosed fee, which is quite unusual for Cheltenham to actually pay a fee for anyone. So it shows how highly they rate him. So I'm sure he'll be starting against Derby and making his first league appearance. And he started slowly, I thought, on Tuesday, but really grew into the game and got a brilliant ovation when he came off. So fans will already have sort of taken him under their wing. And what a place to make your debut against Derby, playing him for the second time or third time this season.
Looking at their record, Cheltenham, they seem to go, particularly in the league, they seem to go through a good run and then, a bad one. I think at the moment they've lost 4 of the last 5. They seem to be a streaky sort of team. Is that a fair assessment of them?
Yeah, and in that 4 out of 5, the one they won, which was at Shrewsbury on just after Christmas, was actually probably the worst they played in that run. And they somehow got a 1-0 win. But they played quite well against Plymouth on Boxing Day, lost 1-0. They played pretty well at Bristol Rovers and lost. They have had a couple of EFL Trophy wins during that run, which has helped lift morale a little bit. Beat Chelsea under 21s and then beat Salford the other day. But yeah, you're right. They had a bit of a rocky start. They're a really tough start on paper, and they were looking, like they were going to struggle. Then they had a really good run. They struggled for goals a bit. They don't let many in. They don't tend to let many in, but they really have struggled for goals, which is a bit the opposite of last season when they let in 80, but they were scoring goals as well. So this season, if you look at the goals scored, they're right down at the bottom, but their defensive record's pretty good. So they've been in games. They've not been blown away too many times. Sheffield Wednesday away 3-0 is probably one of the few times, and they also got hammered at home by Bristol Rovers 4-1, but it was a bit of a freak game that. So they're pretty solid. They'll be hoping that Goodwin brings a few more goals and can help Alfie May continue his goal scoring because he's such an important player for Cheltenham. So if those two can strike a bit of an understanding, they will hope to increase those goals going in. But they are a bit streaky, and unfortunately recently results haven't been good. But performances have been pretty good, I'd say, overall in that run.
And as John was saying, Cheltenham do come into today's game on a bit of a high after that EFL Trophy quarter-final win over Salford this week. New signing Will Goodwin was on the score sheet on his debut. You might remember him as the man who got the last-minute winner, equaliser, I should say, for Torquay against Derby in the FA Cup first round at Plainmoor a couple of months ago. Cheltenham can go 9 points clear of the bottom 3 with a win today. And that's the incentive for the hosts for Derby. It's all about putting more points on the board in their fight towards the top of League One. It is 16 games unbeaten for Derby in all competitions coming into today's game. Let's hear from head coach Paul Warne, starting with his reaction to the FA Cup 4th round draw. Derby will host West Ham in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, good. I was really pleased, to be honest. Excuse me. I was pleased because it happened so quick after our game, so we were still in a little bit of post-match euphoria. Watched it with the majority of the staff in the office at the club. So yeah, pleased. I'm really pleased it's a home game, and it's always nice to play Premiership opposition. So it should be a good day, stroke night. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be some random day, like a Thursday morning, but I look forward to knowing when we're playing it.
We've got that in a few weeks' time. I'm sure you've been back over the tape from the weekend. What stood out in the win over Barnsley for you?
I mean, this is a very coachy thing to say. Just the work rate, really, I think. And I thought nothing epitomised that more than Knighty's goal. If you watch Knighty's goal back and you see where he starts the press, he's got 2 players in front of him. He goes to get the press. Nat follows him, win the ball back, and they get the goal between them that they deserve. So probably about that, really. All the things, obviously the goals and the attempts and the crosses were all really good. So that pleased me. But also the fact that, the run the lads are on is great. But every single game, we've had moments in the game where the game can swing in a different direction. It doesn't matter who you play. You can be 2-0 up and you could just make a save that, all of a sudden 2-1's nervy, or it can be 0-0. And this week, obviously, the chance came and Joe pulled off an amazing save, considering he's got someone in his eye line as well. And that's sort of what pleased me really, that at the moment on them important moments, integral moments of a football match, the lads are coming out on top. So in that respect, that and the out of possession work was excellent.
You're on a tremendous run, 16 unbeaten, 11 without defeat in the league. Is there any pressure coming with that?
No, not for me. No, not really. I just think that I wouldn't say, like, I'm not sitting here thinking, wow, we are absolutely smoking hot. We're not. We look like we're semi-attractive. We've got half our outfit on, but we're not like got our full makeup on yet. I think that we're always taking little steps, and we're definitely better than we were 16 games ago. The things that please me is that we're a lot more athletic than we were 16 games ago. So we presented to the lads this week how, the physical data against Ipswich, which I think, you can tell me I'm wrong, was our last defeat, to our physical data the other day are like chalk and cheese. So that's what really impresses me. And I just think that we keep reinforcing the messages, then hopefully we'll win a lot more games. But I don't feel the pressure at all. And if, and I know fans don't want me to say this, but if we're unsuccessful against Cheltenham, who, by the way, have only lost 3 games less than, only won 3 games less than us. So I'm not underestimating Cheltenham at all. But if we were to lose at Cheltenham, like I've said in many press, like boo-hoo, like you just have to get on another run, and that's all you can do. So I don't feel pressure. I don't want the lads to feel pressure. I just think if they play at their very best, they're very difficult to stop.
And that's the thing about the league, the cliche. You go to Cheltenham, who are the other end of the table, but they'll be a difficult side for you to face.
Yeah, and if you look at like I showed the lads yet today, and I'll do a bit more on it tomorrow, if you actually look in the black and white of it, if you go through all their results this year, like they haven't took any crackings. They virtually every game, if they are on the losing side, they're only on the losing side by 1 goal. The teams that have gone there and beat them have struggled to beat them. That is true, all the top teams. I think Plymouth won 1-0. So it's not an easy place to go. Obviously, I've took a team there before, so I know how difficult it is. And I also know that, respectfully, with our following and that, they'll probably feel like the underdogs. And I know what it's like being an underdog. You come out fighting and scratching, doing everything you can for your team. So we have to, in every game we play, our levels have to be so high for us to win.
There is Paul Warne, only 10 matches in League One today. Port Vale play Peterborough on Monday night, and the game at Cambridge is off due to damage to the stadium roof there. Of the games that are going ahead today, Ipswich against Plymouth and Wycombe versus Sheffield Wednesday are of particular interest to us. And we'll keep you up to date with those games throughout Matchday Live on RamsTV when we bring you Cheltenham Town against Derby County, meeting for the first time in history. Overseas viewers can watch the game with us. Get your match pass now at dcfc.co.uk. Goodbye.